So some famous Hollywood women are opening up about aging, including 58-year-old Courtney Cox. She's talking all about anti-aging injectables and overusing them in the past. So here's what she said about it on the Los Angeles podcast.
Thinking I was getting older when I was really young, that's just a bummer, a waste of time. It's a domino effect. It's like you don't realize that you look a little off, so then you keep doing more because you look normal to yourself, and you look in the mirror and go, oh, that looks good. You think, and you don't realize what it looks like to the outside person, and just doing too many fillers and then having to have them removed, which thank God they are removable. But I think I messed up a lot, and now luckily I can, I was able to reverse most of that, and now I'm actually just older.
So Courtney has opened up about this topic before, saying as you age, things drop, and she was trying to make it not drop. However, she said it ended up making her look fake. So what do you all think about Courtney being so candid here, and can you relate? Tori, how do you tell someone if they've gone too far with injectables? Would you ever tell a friend? Would you know yourself?
I would expect you, and I would expect all of these people on the panel right here to look at me and tell me something's gone wrong.
You would expect a man to tell you that?
Did we not tell you when we thought the Botox, the Spock?
I think there's a different dynamic of you telling me something versus me telling you something.
I think the relationship, it goes past like gender for me. It's like I'm a man telling, if I'm telling Erica something,
it's like brother,
Jeff something, it's just like I as your friend, nobody else I might be the only person to say this to you. So it would be tough, but I think I would hope one of you guys would say something.
I would say something.
Yeah, I would.
Again, the dynamic's different. I'd be like, Erica, Tori looks crazy. And then Erica would have to tell you.
You can tell me.
Yeah.
I wonder, the ethics of some of these injectors.
Yeah. Well, I was saying earlier that, I've been going to my esthetician probably twice a month, at least once a month for years now. And it's been preventative. But I was sitting in the office yesterday and there was an older woman they were having a conversation with, and she was talking about wanting fillers. And they straight up said, like, you don't need fillers because if you put fillers in those areas, you're going to look puffy. And unless you're looking for that look, then we wouldn't suggest you do it. And she had alluded to the fact that another office was going to do the fillers. And they're like, well, that's fine, but you are going to get this look. So I think a lot of times it comes down to people just going into places that don't have the ethics to say, I don't believe you need this. Perhaps this would be a better option for you, and they're just taking the money, and then you're getting like blown up like a tire.
Yeah. I think trusting your injector. I mean, I get Botox. There's a new thing called threads. And I am starting at 42. I am starting to notice my sun damage appearing. And, my lack of elasticity is definitely there. So I mentioned threads to her, and threads is like, it's not surgical, but they go in there and they almost like thread and lift you up. And she said, you do not need that now.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, you do not.
I told you.
You know what I mean? So I'm so glad that I have found someone, to Erica's point, where they tell you, no, not yet. Maybe in 10, 15 years. Or in 5 years, whatever that number may be. But you got to find someone that you trust.
And quick side note for anybody doing business, when you tell people that they don't need your services, you'll have a customer for life.
That's exactly right.
Any kind of like car repair place that they're like, you don't need that, I'm like, oh, okay, you guys are trustworthy. Rather than just like, oh, and there's another thing we found. So yeah, that's great on both ends.
Or you talk to Erica Cobb, because you're right, Erica. You told me. You go, no, Sam, no.
Well, you don't need it.
Yeah.
And then also, I expect y'all to tell me when something's going wrong.
Not gonna happen. I told you, right? It's not going to happen with her.
No, you need to tell me.
I would tell her.
Of course we'll tell her, but I can't imagine anything aging happening to
this angel right here.
Yeah, no.
All right. You guys are talking over me and Jeff, pointing to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you all feel about going gray? Well, 69-year-old Christy Brinkley, whose signature platinum blonde hair has been a staple of her look for years, is considering letting her silver shine through. She posted a bunch of pictures to Instagram where you can see her gray roots. She commented that she may wait until it's more like silver white caps than a gray wave. But what do we all think? Should she embrace the gray? And how do you feel about older women in general taking the gray hair plunge? Is it different for men and women? Did you feel like, uh-oh, am I going to embrace this? Did you you go through that?
There was a point where I dyed my hair, right, when I started getting gray, just because I wanted to get like younger looking rolls, right? I thought maybe that was part of the problem. But I think once you embrace it, man or woman, I think once you embrace it, now I don't even think twice about it, right? I would never dye my hair again, and it is what it is, right? I'm happy to have hair.
I think it's important to also note that you were in your early 30s.
Yeah, I went gray very young.
So
yeah, very
the
young.
idea of you dyeing it to get younger rolls was really just like rolls your age.
Exactly, exactly.
Good point. I think when we saw, remember Keanu Reeves' girlfriend who had gray hair, and we did a whole story on it. It's a lot of money to dye your hair, and time and effort, and it does destroy your hair. If you have good silver gray hair, let it go. I think it's on trend. I think it's beautiful and natural, and I think it's really striking on a woman.
But
It is beautiful, but there's a double standard.
No,
Let's
for
be
sure.
honest.
You're right.
Like
There's
Jeff
a distinguished
will be called a silver fox,
for sure.
and a woman will say she looks old.
She's matronly.
Unfortunately,
right.
that's what the narrative becomes.
But I think it's changing a little.
I hope it
Definitely.
is.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, there is a second narrative here in that, you know, if you do allow yourself to go gray, for as much as us on the panel will be very supportive, people are dealing with a workforce that is very discriminatory towards older workers, male and female. So I think that the idea of a man or a woman, or however you identify, changing your hair color if you need to go into the workforce and you're in your later 40s, early 50s, that's a decision you should make. That's unfortunately a business decision that is not your fault, but it's the world that we live in because it's an aesthetic. I don't know.
Well said. Unfortunately, but well said. Okay, so at what age do you think that you will stop worrying about being sexy? Well, according to a 57-year-old model, Paulina Porizkova, you can be sexy at any age. She posted, ooh, look at her. She looks fantastic. She posted this to Instagram, posing in black lingerie and a red sweater by a fireplace. She commented all about being a grandma and a step-grandma, saying she even knitted the sweater she's wearing. She included the hashtag sexy has no expiration date.
She didn't knit any buttons on it. She clearly cares about being sexy. Like, can we stop?
Yeah, she does.
Yes.
That's why she said it has no expiration date. Why does everybody have a face? You have a face. Tori has a face.
I was reacting to Al.
Okay, I just got a face.
I'm saying look beautiful. She looks great, but I thought she was saying it doesn't matter at any age. When I'm like, clearly people care. I don't think people have to run from the idea that you want to be considered sexy. I think that's okay.
Well, because she's leaning into her sexiness, and she's saying that there's not an expiration date. I think most people, when I think of what's sexy, I think it's confidence. Whatever it is, however you choose to present, to show up, if you're confident about it, then I think that's the attraction. When we talk about sexy, that's different than, like, you know, the aesthetic of good looking or however we want to say that. Sexiness is about an attraction.
There's like swagger.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are leaning into however you show up, I think that is a sexy way to live.
Coco Chanel famously said, walk, if you're a woman, like there's 3 men walking behind you. And so I always...
Fast?
I didn't know what it meant.
Because if there's 3 men walking behind me, I am jogging, like
running.
light jog.
I was like, I didn't know what you meant, bodyguards or like men taking pictures, but I always, sometimes when I'm feeling really low, I'll kind of say that to myself.
Love it. I love it, Tori.
Thanks.
Okay, so finally, this is pretty incredible. 76-year-old Cher and her 37-year-old boyfriend, Alexander Edwards, made their red carpet debut as a couple at the Versace fashion show in Los Angeles. The pair confirmed their romance this past fall. They have even met each other's kids recently. So is dating a younger person a good way to stay feeling young? What would you say, Jeff?
Yeah, yes, but 40 years... it's ridiculous. I don't care if it's a woman, it's older, or a man. We get into this conversation. It's a double standard. It's not. You look crazy, okay? Dating someone 40 years older or younger than you is insane. That's just the bottom line.
If it weren't Cher,
so you could give me hate. How dare you say that about a woman? No, it's crazy.
If it weren't Cher, it would, you know, if it was just someone in
What do you
your
talk
office.
about? What do you talk about?
What do you have in common?
It would look like you walked into the restaurant with your grandkid.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But they both are in the music industry. They both are, I mean, maybe they're helping each other in that respect in some kind of business way. And Cher needs to believe life after love.
Yes, Tori, yes.
Thanks.
Can we look at the picture again? I didn't get to really absorb
You don't know what
the photo.
40 years older looks like?
I want to look at the photo.
Just because your lifestyle and your energy is so different. Like when she is in her house and she comes out in the kitchen, like his friends are all in there and they're like, "Hello, Mrs. Cher." Like it's a
no, but she's Cher.
Hello, Mrs. Cher.
It's like it's a huge. Just
Could you guys keep it down there?
Her kids are older, I believe. That's weird.
Yeah, her kids are older than he is. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But she's happy.
She's Cher.
Yeah. Yes,
she looks very happy.
Is he?
Apparently.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
He's successful in his own right. He doesn't need Cher. They're happy.
Okay. What?
Sure.